Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Takeaway Tip Tuesday, and today's tip is for Tuesday, April the 25th, and I'm your host, Ramona Remisat. I'm an intuitive success coach, speaker, and co-author of the Amazon bestsellers 365 Days of Angel Prayers and 365 Ways to Connect with Your Soul. And today I'm very, very excited to share with you the content that I have because it is something that really is not talked about. It's kind of, not really in the open per se. It's not that it's closeted either, but it's something that not a lot of people are chatting about. And it has to do with how you can hear your angel's guidance crystal clearly. I hear this from people all the time. They really want to have a close connected relationship with their angels. They want to be able to clearly hear the guidance that is coming through. And sometimes people feel like they get that for a little while and then it goes away and then maybe it's back again, or they kind of feel like they're tuning into their angel's guidance, but they're not sure. And so there's a lot of sort of gray area around that. And, you hear me talk about it all the time about how it is important to work with your angels. Hey, Jan, thanks for tuning in. Why it's important to talk to your angels and, that they can't do the work for you, but what they will do is give you guidance. So it's so critically important that we learn how to, interpret and receive that guidance. Otherwise, it kind of, we get a little bit stalled. So I'm just going to give it another little bit here to allow a few more people to come on. And if you're there, please say hi if you like, share where you're from, and I'll get started in just a moment. So as I said, today's topic is really exciting to me because it's something that we're not, a lot of people aren't talking about, right? It's like, what is the real secret to clearly hear what your angels are guiding you to do? Because I know I had my own struggles when I started working with my angels and learning all this stuff, and I wanted to really connect. And, for a time I felt like I was really in tune, and then I kind of went away from it, and then I thought I was really good, and then something happened in my life, and through that I ended up doing something that just made my guidance become like 3, 4, 5D stereo sonic sound. I don't even think that's a word anymore. I'm dating myself. High definition. It was like all of a sudden the guidance was so clear. And then I started putting the pieces together of what caused that. So that's what I want to share with you today. All right, so I don't know if anybody has any guesses as to what it is that I'm getting at here that can really be the key to kind of opening that all up, and like I said, making that guidance super crystal clear. But if you don't want to take a guess, I'm going to reveal it. It is actually your relationship with the foods and the beverages that you consume. So I just want to quickly share a little story with you. A few years ago, I suddenly had some mobility problems with this shoulder, and it was, making it very difficult for me to get in and out of clothing. I couldn't really, not that I swim. I mean, we live in Calgary. It's winter here for a long time of the year, but we were actually on holidays, and I was in the swimming pool, and I was like, gosh, I can't even take a swimming stroke. What is going on? So I went and saw the physiotherapist, and he explained there's this condition called frozen shoulder, and they don't really know what causes it. It just is where your shoulder starts to, freeze up and creates limited mobility, and then after a period of time, it just starts to thaw, and you kind of get that mobility back. But that can be a span of 1 to 3 years. There's really no rhyme or reason to any of it. They can give you some exercises to do to kind of keep it moving, but once it's frozen, and it's the weirdest thing. And so at that time, I was kind of getting intuitive guidance to make some changes to my eating habits, but I didn't really know what that meant. I didn't really know what to do. It's like, I didn't feel like I wanted to make a huge change, but I wasn't sure. So long story short, at the time, my chiropractor was putting on a 30-day challenge, and it was about trying out a raw diet. Now, raw diet, just for those who don't know, you don't eat any meat, no dairy, no grains, no alcohol, no caffeine. It's pretty much fruits, veggies, nuts, and seeds. And you might think, oh my gosh, how can you survive on just that? But I did it hardcore for a month and I loved it. I felt great. I had amazing energy. I was training for races and I still was fine. It wasn't like I needed the carbs, to be able to run. My energy was off the chart. I slept great. I didn't have any food cravings, but the coolest thing was I healed my frozen shoulder. But not only that, in that time span that I was really minding what I was putting into my body, all of a sudden my ability to connect and really, tune into the angel guidance was off the charts. It was crazy. And I had never ever thought about the connection between food and, being able to pick that up. So it was such a cool experiment. Now I saw why my angels were guiding me to make food changes, because they obviously were trying to really communicate with me. So if you're getting guidance to maybe, take a substance out of your diet for a time and see how that makes you feel, or if you're getting guidance to change your exercise habit, maybe start something or change something. This is all not just because it's good for the physical body, it's because they're trying to communicate with you and they really want you to clearly tune in to what it is they're saying. When we exercise, and it doesn't have to be hardcore running and things like that, it can just be simply moving your body in a way that feels good to you, right? But when you do that, you zone out a little bit, right? There's something about, exercising, especially if you're outside, even just taking a walk, doing some light stretching, you just zone out in your mind and you turn that busy brain off and they're able to get in and give you that guidance more clearly, right? So think about that. Now for the foods, I want to go a little bit more in depth with this, and I want to touch on 4 key things that we're ingesting pretty much on a daily basis that could be really preventing you from getting that clear and accurate guidance that you're looking for. Okay, so the first one is gluten. Now, a lot of people, there's kind of a controversy. Some people say the gluten-free thing is a fad. We don't really need to be off of gluten unless, of course, you really truly have celiac disease in that case, obviously. But, there are people with gluten intolerance, gluten sensitivity, and there are just people who know they innately feel better when they don't have that in their system. But what I want to tell you about gluten is it does create like a glue, kind of like the name says. It creates a glue, if you will, that, gets interfered with the third eye chakra, which sits here, which is our ability. This is the chakra that's responsible for your ability to receive clairvoyant insights, right? So it's gunking that up, right? Is basically what gluten is doing there. And so even though you're trying your best to really tap in, and maybe you're meditating or you're, just really, being more in tune with the repetitive thoughts and ideas, gut feelings that come to you, things you're seeing, things you're hearing, and maybe you've had it for a while and then all of a sudden it goes away and you're like, hey, where did that go? It can be because maybe at that point you're just ingesting more gluten and it's kind of creating that fog, if you will, over that third eye so that you're not clearly getting that clairvoyant insights. Okay, so that's what happens when we ingest gluten. And just for those who may not know, gluten is typically found in grains, especially wheat, rye and barley. And so most of your baked goods, things like breads, baked goods, all contain gluten, pastas, but now there's lots and lots of gluten-free options out there. So it's not like you have to go without. There is a way that you can still enjoy those things. The next thing that I want to talk about that is also messing up your ability to connect with your angels is dairy. And I know there's a lot of groaning out there because so many people just love their cheese, right? My daughter's one of them. I call her a mouse. This kid just lives off of cheese. But dairy does have the similar effect as gluten, where it creates like a cloudiness over that third eye, and it actually creates a film over all of your chakras. So the chakras are the energy centers through your body, and if you want, you can think of them like fan blades, right? They're spinning around, moving your life force energy through your body to keep that flow moving optimally. And so when you have that film over there, they're kind of getting gunked up like an air filter in your furnace, right? And you know how you have to change those air filters regularly? Well, these ones are getting gunked up, your chakras are getting gunked up, and they're not getting changed. So it is impacting the flow of energy through. It can make you feel sluggish, can make you feel tired, can give you skin irritations, lots of eczema and things like that can be caused with people who have a lot of dairy acne. So those are some of the sort of symptoms, if you will, of having an overindulgence of dairy, but really does clog, again, that third eye, your ability to tap in and hear the angel's guidance, right? And like I said, these are things people are pretty much eating on a regular basis. The other one is sugar. Oh my goodness, don't get me started on sugar. Don't get me wrong, I love my baked goods every now and then, but it's in so many things without us even knowing, right? If you read a package these days, often the first, second, third ingredient is some kind of glucose, fructose, something that's sugar-based, right? And so it really isn't something we want to have a lot of in our diet anyway. But what it does on the energetic level is it crystallizes in the aura. Okay, so think of your aura is like an energetic shield all around you. And that aura is protected. It's like your first line of defense against other people's energy, right? Or energy from places or situations that we're bombarded with every day. And if you've followed me for a while, you know that I've said this year is a wacky year. There's a lot of fear energy. There's a lot of worry. There's a lot of anxiety swirling around out there, and it's coming at you nonstop. So you want to have a nice strong aura. Think of it like a shield of armor, right? To protect yourself so you can do what you need to do, and you're not going to be impacted by that and bombarded by that and taking in all of that energy that can really drain and deplete you and cut off your vitality. But that's what it does too. When you have sugar, you have these spikes and crystals in your aura, and then it really sucks your energy. It just pulls it right out and can really make you procrastinate and prevent you from doing the tasks that you need to do to move forward in your life, right? So if you're finding that you're really falling into a lot of procrastination and your motivation's kind of gone down the drain, take a look at just how much sugar you're consuming, right? And look for the hidden sugars. It's in a lot of condiments, even salad dressings, all kinds of things, right? So if you can, do without or make your own, it's a lot healthier, a lot better for you. And again, it's going to help you be able to tune into what the angels are trying so desperately to share with you. Okay. The last one I want to talk about, and I know you're not going to like this, not that you've liked having to get rid of some of these other things, but the coffee, right? Coffee. It's like, an epidemic of caffeine addicted people, whether it's coffee, it's the caffeine actually is what I'm talking about, not necessarily coffee, but the caffeine. There's people who drink coffee, but there's people who also drink energy drinks. There's, this addiction to caffeine. And that energetically creates spikes in the aura. And then your aura becomes very jagged and sharp. Yee, not good, right? And that makes it harder for you to sense the energy of places and situations, right? So if you go into a room or you're, meeting with somebody, typically you would get a sense. A lot of people who are more sensitive will get a sense. Ooh, I like this person, or ooh, they're prickly. I don't like that person, right? Or I like this room. I want to go in here. I want to see what this is all about. Or, this doesn't feel good to me. I want to get the heck out of here. But when you have a lot of caffeine in your system, it kind of clouds that, right? And you can't necessarily pick that up as easily. And so you're kind of unknowingly putting yourself at risk because, again, you're going out there, your aura is a little bit jaggedy, it's not strong, and you're going to start to absorb a lot of that energy that's in that room or from those people or from that situation or whatever it is. And then you can feel depleted, drained, exhausted. You might feel sad or mad for no reason. You start taking in all that energy from other stuff that's not yours. It doesn't belong to you, right? And we don't need that. You got enough problems to manage your own, right? So you don't need everybody else's. It can also make you feel confused and irritable, right? So if you're noticing some of those symptoms, that could be what's going on there. What else do I want to say? Oh, the other thing with sugar is with caffeine is it makes the auras, again, think of it as a fan blade, spin really, really fast. So it's like the energy is coming in. Your body works like a circuit, right? The energy comes in, it kind of circuits around and it goes out. And you want to have that balanced, right? But what happens when you have so much caffeine in your system, those fan blades are spinning so fast that the energy is coming in and going out before you can even really process it correctly. So it can leave you feeling like your cup's half empty instead of half full, right? It's like you're pouring out more than you're replenishing, and you feel like you're, doing stuff, but you're just so drained, and you're like, what is going on? So that's, it's making those fan blades spin faster than they need to, and you're sending out the energy before you've even had a chance to really process it correctly. So I don't know, Jan, does that, resonate with you at all? Are you feeling like maybe some of these substances could be messing up your capability to really tap into your angel's guidance? Have you ever experimented with taking something out of your diet for a while and just notice what that feels like? I would encourage you, and not just you, Jen, but everybody who's watching, to maybe experiment with this. And I'm not saying take everything out. I'm not saying you have to suddenly become vegan. I mean, I know that's a great option for some people, but for most people to do that, cold turkey, it's not realistic and it isn't sustainable. I'm not saying you can't get there, but you typically want to go in stages, right? But I would say, if you've got a little niggling feeling, oh, that's awesome. Jen's been on a fruit and veg diet for the last month and feels great. Yes, doesn't it? Like, it does. Like, the interesting thing for me was when I was on the raw diet was I thought I felt pretty good anyway, and then when I did that and I saw what that looked like, it was like night and day. And when I kind of backslid after the month was over, I remember going out with my family and we went to an Italian restaurant and I ordered some pasta and I couldn't even keep my eyes open. I was like falling asleep in the car. When I got home, it was about 6:30. I conked out and I slept until the next day. That's how drained that it made me. And I thought, wow. And then I said, I know why so many people are living on coffee. It's because I think they've got so many substances in their body that are just draining their energy. And, they're also, having sugar, which is spiking their blood sugar, and they go up and then they crash, and they go up and then they crash, and then they've got the gluten on top of it. And it's sucking people, and then they just, are turning every which way. They're using coffee. Yes, coffee can be hard to give up. Now, I used to drink a lot of coffee, I will be honest with you. And then one day I just kind of woke up and I was drinking it. And I'm like, this doesn't even taste good to me anymore. Why am I drinking this? My husband never drank coffee, tea, nothing. And I was just like, why am I drinking this? So the angels helped me get rid of it really easily. They just kind of put it, out there for me. And it was, but I get that. One thing you can try is a tea called Pu'er. It's P-U''ERH, I believe. It's a black tea, but it tastes really good. And it makes a great coffee substitute. The other thing I've heard of is chicory, I think is the other one. And then roasted dandelion root tea as well. I haven't tried that one personally, but I have had the Pu'er and it's great. And you can get them flavored like with fruit, or like I had a strawberry Pu'er, which is really nice. Or go in stages, right? Again, not about cold turkey and having to like just say, that's it, I'm not drinking coffee ever again, but maybe cut back a little bit or have it every other day or something like that, and I still, enjoy a good cup of coffee, but that's the key, good, right? So if I'm out somewhere, I'm at a restaurant and I know they're going to make a really good cup of coffee, you bet I will have it. Or if I'm, I just came back from Hawaii. So when I was in Hawaii, God, you got to have coffee in Hawaii, right? So I would go and I would have a cup of good, Kona coffee or something like that. But, it's making it as like a reward or making it as something that's special, as opposed to just mindlessly downing this stuff every day. Hey, Rowena, nice to see you. That kind of thing, right? So yeah, I was saying when I was on the raw diet and just had such energy and vitality and felt so good, it really opened my eyes to what the real difference is when you kind of move some of these substances out of your system for a while. So Rowena, I know you kind of missed some of that. we were talking about if you really want to truly tap into what your angels are saying, there are 4 key things you can make lifestyle-wise changes to help you do that, because foods and beverages that we consume actually are detrimental to our ability to tap into our guidance, and nobody really talks about this. So just a quick recap, if you've joined in late, gluten, okay, it creates a glue over the third eye, which is the area where you receive your, divine insights, right? Dairy also creates kind of a fog or a film over the third eye and through all of the chakras. And the chakras, again, they're like fan blades that spin to move your life force energy through your body to keep you energized, to keep you feeling good, right? So dairy can really gunk those up and slow everything down so that you're not feeling as good, right? Feeling more tired, also feeling sluggish, having skin irritations, eczema, all of those kinds of things, right? Sugar, the devil sugar. How that can really it crystallizes in your aura. Your aura, again, is your first line of self-defense against all the energy that's out in the world from people, places, situations. You want to have a strong armor to protect yourself from that. But if you've ingested a lot of sugar, it's going to make chinks in your armor, right? And it's going to deplete your energy and really drain your motivation, lead to procrastination, and just doesn't help you to, get things done that you need to do in your life. And then the final one was caffeine, where we were talking about how that actually creates a very spiky aura. It makes it jaggedy and makes that difficult. Hey, Anissa, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Caffeine will make it difficult for you to perceive that energy from people, places, and situations. So you could be unknowingly putting yourself at risk, right? When you're in a busy, crowded environment, typically you would pick up if there's some not so great energy and you might remove yourself from that situation. But if you've got a lot of caffeine in your system, that kind of clouds your ability, your judgment to be able to do that. And you might be there and you're taking in, again, all this energy, and then go home and you feel drained, or you feel depleted, or you might feel confused or even very irritable, right? Because of that. So if you truly want to have a crystal clear connection with your angels, start to think about what you're putting in your body, food and beverage wise. There's also other substances, alcohol, obviously, drugs, right? Even some other things as well. So, but those are the 4 big ones, because we pretty much are ingesting these things on a day-to-day basis. Now, what I want to just wrap up with is, I'm not saying again that you have to go vegan, you have to cut all these things out, but if you're feeling that little niggle or that little nudge to maybe make some dietary changes, it's coming from somewhere, right? And again, it's not just because it's good for the physical body. Your angels really want to talk to you, and they want you to hear what they're trying to tell you. So experiment, right? Try it for a while. Maybe you set a goal for 2 weeks. You're saying, you know what? I really know that gluten isn't great for me. I'm going to cut it out of my diet completely for 2 weeks, and just notice. Notice everything. Am I sleeping better? Do I have more energy? How's my skin? Do I find that all of a sudden now I do feel like I'm clearly tapping into the guidance? It's all of a sudden like a screen was raised and it's like, woo, here it is in, HD, right? So, and any of these substances we talked about, maybe you're really hooked on the cheese and the dairy, and that's not been great for you. So you're thinking maybe take that out for a while. Ideally, if you can do it for a month, that is the best, okay? But I get it. Everybody has different stuff going on. So, commit to something that you feel is doable, right? And that's the key, commit. Don't go at it half-assed because you won't get a great result. Think of yourself as a scientist in a lab, and you really have to commit to following the procedure so that at the end you can get a valid result, right? You want to know, did this really do anything for me? Did it not? Right? But yeah, check everything, not just how the guidance is, but like I said, other physical symptoms or physical changes that like I said, for me, the energy was the first thing I really noticed. It was like, I felt like I was on jet fuel every day. I was drinking green juices, and like I said, I'd cut out meat and dairy and grains and all of these alcohol and caffeine, and I felt great, but I'm not saying you have to do all of that. Do it in baby steps. Just test it out and see what that's like. Now, the other thing I want to say is sometimes people have an intuitive feeling that they know a certain substance isn't good for them, and yet they just feel like they can't let go, especially, the coffee, things like the caffeine, things like that, the sugar. And when they hear the idea of detoxing, they like, oh, it's going to be hard. It's going to be unpleasant. It's not going to be a very nice thing to go through. I'm going to have withdrawal symptoms. It's going to be nasty to get off of this stuff. And I want to tell you that if you truly want to release from some of these things, it's not as difficult as you might believe. There's actually a way that you can use the angels, and you can use some natural supplements that will help you shed these things very easily without all of the, perceived, hard part about it, right? Not having symptoms of withdrawal, not having any really negative side effects whatsoever. So if that's something you're interested in, send me a message and we can chat further on that. I have programs, 1-week programs that will easily help you get off of gluten, dairy, sugar, caffeine, even one for alcohol and some other things. Like I said, if you're feeling like, yeah, it's finally time, I gotta let this go, but I don't want it to be hard and I don't want it to be unpleasant, let's chat, okay? So I hope that helped. Does anybody have any questions? I know it might have been different than what you were expecting when I was saying how to really hear your angel's guidance, because people who, hey Phil, welcome. People who want to sort of ramp up their connectedness, if you will, or they really want to strengthen their intuition. We hear a lot of these psychic development programs and, you get into like meditation. And I'm not saying that's bad or wrong or anything, because I teach that stuff too. But like I said, this is sort of the missing piece that people are not talking about, how the foods and beverages that we consume really do impact our ability to hear the guidance. So if you're catching this partway through, please go back and watch the whole replay from start to finish and hear what I have to say about gluten, right? That one, dairy, sugar, and caffeine. And maybe commit to making a little experiment where you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna maybe cut that out for a little bit and just notice what happens for me. And please, if you do that, come back and share with me. I want to know how it worked out for you. Did you find that all of a sudden you were hearing the guidance more clearly, right? And maybe, the clarity you've been yearning for. There's a lot of people out there right now, a lot of questions, right? Trying to get clarity, really struggling and feeling like they're not getting the answers. And it's not that their angels aren't aren't communicating with them. People are like, I don't get any guidance. I'm like, hogwash. You get guidance 24/7, but you're getting in your own way, right? As to how you're picking that up. So one of the ways we're getting in our own way is by filling our bodies with all these different things. And it's like creating like a barrier, right? The guidance is right there, but it has to work really hard to get through, some of these substances. So make sure that you address that if you feel that that's at play with you, and then let me know how it works. I'd be so excited to find out all the good things that come if you decide to follow through on the experiment. So I hope that made sense. If you know somebody who this could really help, please share. We want this knowledge and information to reach as many people as possible, and Facebook really likes when we share, and it'll put it in more people's news feeds. All right, so that's the takeaway tip for today. As I said, if you're ready to get rid of some of these substances, you're like, I'm so done. I know sugar's like not my friend, or I know that, I drink way too much coffee or whatever, reach out to me. We'll chat and I'll talk to you about how you can detox without all of the negative side effects and make it actually a pleasant experience. It really can happen. All right, so have a fabulous day, everybody. Enjoy the weather wherever you are. We have snow. Yep, that's right, we do. But anyways, join me back here next Tuesday for another takeaway tip. You are welcome, Rowena. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate you guys giving me your time. And, oh, Tracy, you're just joining now. We're wrapping it up. Please go back and watch from the beginning. I'm talking about 4 key things that we eat and drink that could be really cutting you off from hearing your angel's guidance. I'll give you the quick rundown, but you'll have to go back and get the full details. So it's gluten, dairy, sugar, and caffeine. And a lot of people have no clue that that's what's holding them back from really being able to tap in and hearing their angel's guidance. Yes, it's true. And again, I'm not saying you have to all of a sudden quit all of that stuff, but maybe, if you're already picking up that bit of an intuitive nudge to get rid of something for a while or experiment with taking it out of your diet for a while, then you definitely want to follow through with what you're picking up intuitively and experiment a little bit and just see how that impacts you. So thanks again, everybody, for being here. Have a fabulous day, and we'll see you next Tuesday. And don't forget, every day I'm here live in the mornings at different times for the daily angel guidance message, Mondays through Fridays. You can come in and get your homework assignment for what the angels want you to know for each and every day of the week. Well, Monday through Friday, okay? So you can watch that here and share, comment, like, then more people will get this in their news feeds. Thank you. Hi, Gail. Oh, everybody's coming in now, and we're wrapping it up. Please go back and watch the replay so you can learn about the 4 key substances that are messing you up from being able to truly hear your angel's guidance. Has to do with the foods and the beverages we're consuming and what they do to us on an energetic level and what they do to our auras. Okay, so you'll want to go get all the details, and yeah, and like I said, if you like it and you think other people can benefit, please share it out. So thanks everybody for watching. Have a great day. Have a great week. We'll see you next Tuesday for another Takeaway Tip Tuesday.